so that we can get that together. Let me first call the meeting to order. I think we have quorum. Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
So in attendance from the committee is Michael Bennett, Todd Dargy, Cheryl Zarella-Burke, and myself, Tom Connolly. I've got to first ask if we could move into a brief executive session with the Board of Selectmen for a discussion on strategy with regard to collective bargaining that may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the town if we do it publicly. So could I take a roll call vote? Ask for a motion for that?
Motion for executive session.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Michael?
Yes.
Cheryl? That was a thumbs up from Cheryl. We will take it as such. Todd?
Yes.
And myself, Tom Connolly. So to the others who are on, we will try and keep this to 15 minutes or less. We will be back at 6:15. Caesar, I don't know if you were going to provide a waiting room or ask them to dial back in.
They'll be put in the waiting room in the time
Okay.
being.
We'll be back as quickly as possible. So if you could move them to waiting room. Okay. So first order of business would be acceptance of 2 rounds of minutes. Because we missed approving the March 14th minutes last week. So could I ask for a motion to approve the minutes of March 14th, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and a roll call vote for those. Michael?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
And John?
Yes.
And myself as a yes. So those minutes are accepted. Thank you, Linda, again, for your great job on those. So same thing, a motion please to accept the minutes of our meeting of March 21st.
So moved.
Second?
All right, second.
And a roll call vote. Michael?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Thanks. And myself is a yes. So those minutes carry as well. Thank you all. Okay, so I think we had Pam Aducci next on the agenda to discuss, it says clerical wage budget. Is she on? There's Pam. Pam, the floor is yours.
Pam, you're on mute right now.
Pam? Maybe she's having technicals. We'll give her a minute to come off. Is Tom Schindler on?
I think Mike's wife is in for Tom Schindler.
Oh,
They're
good,
both-
okay. Mike, are you sitting in for Tom?
Yeah, he's with me. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty, so I'm just going to give him my phone and he can proceed.
Okay, thank you, Caesar. Looks like Pam's coming back
Do I
in.
get to keep the phone?
No, unfortunately not.
Looks like,
Unless you want to receive their
Hello?
it looks like a nice phone. Yeah.
Hang on, Pam, with your technical difficulties, we skipped over you and went to parks. We'll do the parks budget right now, and then we'll come back to you momentarily. Mike was
perfect.
just going to talk to us about the parks budget.
Okay.
Turn the volume up just a little bit.
Mike?
Yes. Thank you.
So-
I can hear you better.
Okay, good. So, you know, the objective of this this discussion is to help prepare us for talking about the parks budget at the annual town meeting. So if you could just kind of walk us through your perspective on the budget, what are the pros and cons, what are the difficulties? That would be helpful to us.
Pros and cons on the budget, or, well, first of all, thanks for your serving on this committee and having me scheduled for tonight. We're looking at what Sandy Nolan had put in as previous year was the $100 for wage and salary and $450 for expenses.
Mhm.
But there's also something that has come up not only in our meetings, also from the Board of Health, that we need. He requested 2 porta potties down at these beaches, we felt that we can get away with one down at the 4th Ave Lincoln Street Beach. Just looking at what the amount of people that are starting to go to the beach, the pandemic kind of really drove everybody out of the house, and now they're discovering our parks area, and we need to accommodate them.
Mhm.
We came up with a porta potty, a handicap porta potty. It was, let me quickly find out what company it was. Yep. It's CPR. They were competitively priced. They rent them on a 28-day cycle, which seems to be a little odd, but okay. An ADA for $275, a 28-day cycle. We're figuring a week before Memorial Day and a week after Labor Day, that would come out to $1,100 for 4 straight 28 days. Like I said, we have a letter from the Board of Health
Yeah.
to the parks requesting the mission of the Board of Health is to protect the health, safety, and well-being of the public. I believe this measure would assist in preventing urination and defecation around in the woods and the public water tributes. As I see, this measure has at least 3 advantages: protecting public health, protecting environment, and provides the additional service to the water quality. Similarly, we currently do for our residents. I think Tom Schindler had given you over the letter from the Board of Health,
Mhm.
along with the department budget note, where
Yes.
we had requested the porta potty. So that's, where I am with that.
So, thank you. So Sandy, any questions from the committee?
I don't, necessarily have a problem with the cost of the porta potty. One thing that pops in my head, this might not even be the right place for it though, is part of this discussion at all, when you're looking at, the public health aspect of it, is somehow overseeing, supervising that the beaches are for just town residents use. I know that last summer it seemed to be, like you said, a very popular spot with, people seeking it out. And, it seemed like many times there were probably people from out of town using it as well. So that's obviously increasing the demand we have for things like porta potties and things of that nature. Just wanted to put that out there.
No, we're well aware of it. And what we're trying to do this year was we're going to intensely monitor the activities of it. There's nothing we can have done by this fiscal year to maybe come up with a permitting. We do have officers down these parks all the time monitoring, out of town license plates. It's hard to stop and go down and check ID for everybody down there. So we're trying to come up with maybe a fee if an out of town residents would like to use the beach. But we're in the process of doing a study on that this
Great.
year. So we are working on that. Absolutely.
Michael, is there signage to that effect? I haven't noticed whether there's signage that says they are reserved for town residents.
I believe the main sign, I'd have to look at my photos again, but it is Halifax resident parking. I don't know if it goes beyond Halifax residents only. It's difficult because you got a state boat ramp on Route 58. And it's just, they're using the boat ramp. Out of town can use the state boat ramp, and sometimes they're gonna levitate over there.
Yeah.
So I think we're aware of it. We got a full board now. We had one up until last May. And we're just there's 2 new members, myself and Bruce Noble. Tom's been there doing it alone, filling in as best he could, as also part of the building and maintenance. And we're in the process of doing a lot of things down there to try to clean it up, to attract our neighbors and our residents back down there, because it's just been neglected and on the bottom of the barrel for too long. We've been talking with the highway department. We've got some clearing stuff coming in. We're gonna get some help clearing out the trees and the trail, the road. We're gonna get clearing out the parking lot across the street from the beach, so there is parking over there. There's a lot of things we've been working on over the year, but it's starting from almost like 0 to 100, you know? We're at about 30 miles an hour right now.
Yeah, but it sounds like things are ramping back up and there's some good opportunities there with, maybe a permitting or a sticker process for maybe a nominal fee that in the future could cover things like porta potties and then some good signage, but it sounds like we're coming out of post-COVID, probably anticipating a really busy summer down there because everybody wants to get out. So I appreciate you bringing it to our attention.
No, and the thing too is, in the past couple of years, the pond you've been able to swim in it. I mean, even before COVID, we were fighting algae blooms and all kinds of stuff.
Bacteria levels and all of that.
Yeah, so as soon as now we get that fixed, it's like, all right, people are going back there, and it's not a lot to do in town. We're trying to keep our kids in town. We get a lot of volunteer groups that we're talking to do a lot of different things, and I think at minimum we can, if we can swing this porta potty, that's one item. I have 2 others, but not part of as this part. We just like this, if this could be in the expense of the park department for this year. In addition to
That's
the
my
450
husband, I'll
that we
get it.
generally have. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, that's just somebody who wasn't on mute. Sandy, where would this is this in the budget now? I know it wasn't anticipated,
Right.
but is it in the budget reflected now that it's in OneDrive?
No, it wasn't. If we added, he said it would be $1,112
Yeah.
for the porta potty for four cycles of 28 days.
Yeah.
That would bring his budget up to $1,562. They haven't had an increase for a very long time, but it would bring his expense budget up to $1,562. And being a public health issue, I mean,
Nothing going on.
it's not an outrageous request.
And the Board of Health actually wants us to put one over on Home Street as well. So we figure, well, we don't really know the traffic over there as much. So we're going to monitor that over the next year and just see if is it something really needed on that process. So the Board of Health did ask for the 2, and we decided, that's pushing it a little too much right now. We know everything's still tight, and we appreciate any help we can get.
So could any other questions from the committee about this?
Do we anticipate just that one being enough for the beach
For
with
this-
the most use,
For
or?
this budget, yeah, there's 2 other items that we'd like to ask, maybe have it put on as an article for town meeting. So I just figured I'll just leave that at this, and then we can move on to that quick when you're
Okay.
adding more, if you have any more questions on the porta potties.
No, why don't we talk about the next 2 and then we'll take a vote on.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. The next one is, it's let me find it where it is. Yeah, we're looking at a beach nourishment down there. The beach has been washing away. I don't know if you've been down there lately. I get a picture here, maybe. Nah, it's not really. This is a picture. I don't know if you can see it.
Well, they probably won't.
Oh,
Yeah, we can't right now.
all right, well,
Oh,
if
there we
you
go.
if you walk down the beach,
Turn that camera back on. That may have worked. Sorry, we just didn't have.
yeah, how's that? Can you see that?
Yeah,
Not really, but we get it. Okay.
All right, that's prettier than me, so.
That video.
Oh, no, great. Now you get scared out of here. But if what I'm pointing out is where these buoys are, I'm near the Route 4 Lincoln Street, and there's, gullies that have been cut into the beach from runoff.
Mhm.
And there's couple more over here. And so this sand hasn't been replaced. I don't even know when the sand's ever been replaced. We've been looking through the files going years back to see if they've ever replaced it or refurbished, but what we have done is Highway would be happy to spread it down there. We've already started asking conservation, you know, the process and the filing process for, what was it, a Mass DEP filing, I don't know, it's here somewhere. DEP, what the heck is it? I missed the form. Anyways, we started that, so we got some bids from the local, you know, the sand pits. We got Bridgewater sand, we got Plimpton gravel, and then, so we looked at what they get for prices through the water department, through the highway department. So I talked to the owner, Joe, and asked him specifically, he's looking at the DEP. I talked to the DEP, they request, you know, there can't be, it gotta be sand that matches the texture in
Great.
granule size. It can't have any sediment or soot in it. It's a wash sand.
Mhm.
And he's quoted me at 14 a ton. We're figuring 3 triaxles about 25 ton a piece. I think it's 24, but it's about, it comes up to about yeah, I didn't read Doug with the number. So it's at 14 a ton for 75 tons.
About $1,000.
It's $1,100. I mean, here we go, right? That's kind of peculiar, but that's what we were hoping maybe to put on the article. The townspeople could ask, you know, we could ask them if, you know, we can do that. The second one was a continuation of the Home Street boat ramp improvement. We put in place, because the boat ramp over there, as you know, is a disaster. When they put in Route 36, they really didn't put a lot of thought in the ramp over there.
I'm sure I do.
And that we're working on the drawings to come up so we can at least get out there and get some honest bids on it, because right now we can't really get a solid bid on it. We do know it's going to be more than what we requested. I don't know when the last time we requested, it was $5,000 we had put in the account. And we know it's going to be more than that. So we wanted to ask the town if it's like when we buy the big end equipment down the highway, instead of buying it in one year article, they spread it out over time. They know they need it. So we're just asking to put something in towards that. And we're hoping to have that locked down by the end of the year, way before next time the meeting. We know it's going to be way over what we got.
So Sandy, the porta potties, obviously that's an operating expense. It sounds like boat ramp is a capital plan.
Right.
What about the sand?
I think that would be a capital also, because it's like a one-time
year.
thing. It's not going to happen every year.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the town warrant has been closed. I believe the date was last Tuesday at the selectmen's meeting. I think the warrant closed. I'm not exactly sure of that date, but if you get all the information on it, and you can get it to me, we'll have it in the envelope for if we have a special town meeting or for the next annual. It's just a little late right now to get it on this year's town meeting.
Yeah, there was a little confusion with Tom Schindler.
Yeah,
And then Mike O'Brien, I guess, was a liaison, and somehow we just didn't know this until last Wednesday that we were behind. But generally, don't we have a special town meeting generally?
sometimes we don't always have a special town meeting in the middle of the year, but if we do,
I mean,
yeah.
not part of the regular and
We
the,
do have a special town meeting during the annual town meeting, Mike. The selectmen opened that and closed that at the same time as they opened and closed the annual town meeting.
Okay.
So
well,
So
So,
there's no recourse here, Sandy, for getting these two items into
Mm-mm.
this upcoming ATM. Is that what we're saying?
I think that you would have to talk to Ashley. Ashley, are you listening? I think it would be something that would come before the selectmen.
Okay.
I'm here,
Um,
Sandy.
Yeah, so am I correct in saying that the town meeting warrant closed on the 22nd?
I believe it did close. I thought it closed on Friday, but either way, I
Alright.
believe it's closed. The
All
last
right,
I heard.
so,
So we would have to hold off to see if there's a special in the fall.
right,
is it something that we can't present it out of, it has to be in the warrant to be able to make it legit?
yes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And yeah, because I just kind of thought, that went out later myself. It's been a while. And I didn't think it went out in March. Myself and Tom just didn't pick it up, so I guess nothing.
I
we
just
can
suggest we
do.
get everything prepared, and then if we have a special town meeting early enough in the fall that you can get these things done, or at least have it
Yeah.
ready, then it would at least be ready for spring.
Yeah.
That might be the best we can do, but we should, I mean, I'd get let's get all the paperwork ready, and then we'll present.
Right. Mike, do you have any idea of how much the stand is gonna cost?
It's
I was trying to
$1,100.
do that, but
Yeah, I got it at $1,100. I
For the
mean,
stand?
we can probably do 2/3, which will take a triaxle out, which will drop it down to what, 800 or a little less. We can maybe because we're right now at,
I was just wondering if there was enough money in the budget to handle some of it, but I don't know that there would be, so.
yeah, well, right now we've already got the chain link is up. Then we're replacing the lower fence by the new light that Tom put up this year. There's a solar light. We got the recycling barrel down there, and the old fence is like a post and hanging rope. So we got enough to get that finished and get rid of some of the stumps. There's got to be 20 something stumps down there. With all these trees falling and stuff, it's terrible. So we think we got enough to take care of that by the end of the year on what we have. So there's nothing left that we can, I mean, if there is, you got to do the whole thing. I wouldn't ask highway to come down and spread it for. Come back.
Holly,
Okay,
I mean, it would be nice to have it in this budget. I wouldn't argue that at all.
well, maybe let's ask that we proceed this way then, unless the committee has a better idea, or Sandy will. Sandy, you'll revise the budget for the first item, so that we have a complete budget to vote on, and we could do that vote next week if the budget's got the ADA porta potty in it. And then the other two, I think where we're left with is we have to get the articles ready so that when we have a special town meeting, they could be presented then, but we're not going to be able to do it at the annual.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. I don't know how the other board members think, but I generally, when there's a special meeting, it's usually something that you really need done. And so I don't know, it's
I
not,
think
it's
it would
not a
be
lot.
appropriate for a special, Mike, if we have a special in the fall.
Yeah, well, it certainly should go on the agenda if we have one in the fall, Mike. So I would just get everything ready, no matter what the important thing is that drives the creation of the meeting. These are important enough to be on the agenda.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Sandy,
Um,
excuse me for a second, Tom. Sandy, will you be able to update that figure for the committee? So if they get to that line tonight, you can tell them what the right
Absolutely.
figure would be to vote? Yeah, you'll be able to vote the expense budget tonight if you want, Tom.
Okay, that'd be great. We had we had all the numbers together. When we get to voting, we could do that. Thank you. Pamaducci, there you are. Pam, you wanted to discuss the next item on the agenda, go back to that, which is clerical wage line that you wanted to discuss with us?
Yes, sorry, I was having technical difficulties
Okay.
earlier. So I actually wanted to put this on for this year, FY '23 coming up, to ask for the assistant treasurer position to be at 40 hours, but where we were asked to level fund, I didn't do it. But there's been a little snafu. I've given my notice and I'm leaving at the end of April. So I feel as though this position kind of needed to get 40 hours to, whoever comes in will need training, and the assistant treasurer will probably do a lot of that training.
Is the
And I
assistant
thought-
treasurer a candidate, Pam?
Well, the assistant I'm not sure.
Okay,
The assistant treasurer doesn't live in town, so if the selectmen appoint the assistant treasurer, I think that they can do that, but I'm not sure what their idea is.
got it, thank you. Sandy, you have any insight?
Speaking as the town accountant, we know that the assistant treasurer has been hard pushed as it is to be able to handle the increase, especially with all the fraudulent unemployment claims we got during the pandemic, but also just keeping up with the everyday business within the treasurer's office. I believe that no matter what happens with a new treasurer, that assistant treasurer position is going to have to go to 40 hours a week. It's like I said, I think it should have been anyways, but this is going to really, we're really going to need it. We're going to need that person in there 40 hours a week.
Any questions from the committee? I mean, I don't think we vote this, right? We would adjust the budget and then vote
This
it.
would be an adjustment to the clerical budget. Yep, to the treasurer collector clerical budget.
I think if we get any, maybe I just make an observation, if we get any traction at all on Todd's idea of finding new revenue sources, whether it's permits, whatever new revenue sources we find, that's going to increase the activity on this individual's role.
Exactly.
If we create new revenue opportunities and then don't have the resources to collect on them, we're kind of wasting our time. Any questions, comments from the committee?
I did send a notice to the selectmen, to Gordon, about maybe trying to raise the demand fee, but that has to go to town meeting. We charge a $5. I mean, not that it's gonna make a ton in the beginning, but we charge $5 and most of the surrounding towns charge 15. But that has to go to town meeting to get approved.
Or we'll add that to the list of opportunities perhaps. Any other questions from the committee? Okay, I think there's no vote necessary now. It makes eminent sense to me. Let's add it to the budget, and then when it comes around time to vote,
Okay.
Committee, just express your opinion then. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Next up was Scott Materna. Is he here? Don't see him. Okay, we'll table that perhaps till next time. Linda?
I don't have that Scott was on the agenda for tonight, I don't believe.
Oh, I'm looking at, maybe it was, right, I'm looking at, I don't know, 328 version B. But that's okay, we'll
Okay.
set it aside, yeah.
I think I'm looking at version B too, and I don't know why I don't have them.
Okay.
Um,
We did executive session already, so that that part, and now we're just into general discussion on the budget and the tedious part of working through line items together and seeing where we stand, guys. Sandy, where do you want to start?
Yeah, what I'd like to do is see if I can share my screen. So let me give it a try.
Guys, while Sandy's doing that, maybe just a quick update on what kind of on the school budget. I meant to CC you guys on it, but we're still faced in the HES budget with a $360,000 increase that's entirely due to this special education transportation price increase. It's not demand increase, it's price increase, and so we're trying to explore, and I've made the inquiries with the school committee and with COA. We have 3 vans at COA. We have drivers at COA. It just seems that where COA could certainly use the revenue, they wouldn't have to take the price increase, but we could get some sort of cross subsidy on the vans. And I'm sure that there are insurance issues that we would have to overcome, but transferring our seniors is as risk prone as transporting our children. So I think in either case, having the right insurances and all that should be in place anyway. So just to let you know, we've asked the committee to explore that, and I hope that when the budget comes back, we have some answer on that. COA was actually quite amenable to sharing, so we raised it with the school committee to see whether that's a way to solve the transportation problem. Just an FYI, I'll keep you guys posted. Okay, Sandy. Oh, you were sharing your screen.
Yeah, still working on it.
Okay.
I'm not sure what's going on right here.
Caesar, are you on?
All right.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Caesar.
Yeah, I'm having problems sharing. Hang on.
Sandy, you should be all set. I don't know why this is the case, but I could have sworn that I restarted the recording, right?
You did.
You did, yes.
You did.
You
It's saying
restarted that.
It's telling me that.
I've got a recording.
All right, maybe.
Sandy, are you unable to share? You want me to try?
I'm having a little problem. Wait a minute. See, I'm not on my town computer, otherwise it would be way easier. But I'm having a little bit of issues. Linda, are you able to do it, or Tom?
Yeah, I think you guys see it now?
Yeah, you're coming up, Linda.
There you go.
Oh, yay. All right, thank you, Linda.
Just tell me where you want me to put it, Sandy.
Yeah, I think we should probably start from the top and just hit the ones that we haven't done yet.
You're in the operating budget, not the article.
And the expense, yep.
Okay, so it looks like you're starting with Halifax fireworks.
Is that the first one, line 138?
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Give me a second. I forgot I was already in the middle of it earlier. So,
All right.
okay, there you go. Back up by
Town administrator's salary. So they had it set at what Charlie was under contract at the 125.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're going to change that. So
If we were
I would
to,
say we recommend it unless they come back to us.
if we were to
We haven't
vote,
heard anything from the selectmen.
if we were to vote it at 125 and they find that the selected candidate requires a higher rate, how does that work?
Well, I'm not sure. So if we voted at 125 at town meeting and they need more money for a selected candidate, they might have to go to a special town meeting. They might have to call a special town meeting to do it.
Okay. Okay, then, that is what, Charlie's contract reflected for FY '23.
Yes.
So, any questions about that or observations, folks, about town manager salary? Okay, hearing none, let me ask for a motion to recommend town manager salary be authorized at 125.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. So that motion carries. What is next?
I believe the next one is the IT expense budget. And I would recommend that amount. I believe, so on Cease's last budget, we talked about the $1,500 that he had put in for the copy machines.
Mhm.
I still think that that we should be purchasing the copy machines, and we have the article on as one of the articles. But it's only $1,500. He had only budgeted $1,000 for his outside services. So I feel that that's a fair amount, and I would leave it at the 110.91 for the expense.
So
I wouldn't take the 1,500 out.
So an overall increase of 5%.
$6,848, which with the licenses and everything and all the increases that we saw in that, I think that that's fair.
And largely fixed. There's nothing that we could do about
Right.
it other than eliminate a license, which makes no sense.
Right.
Okay, could I ask for a motion to approve the IT expense budget at 110?
So moved.
91.
Second.
Thank you. A roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. That carries.
Hey, Tom, or Finance Committee, it's Caesar. I have just a quick question. I don't know what the decision was on the wages. I know that I believe there's an intention to go or ask the board to use ARPA funds to possibly fill the difference of, from 25 to 40.
They could do
I
that.
wasn't sure if we were relying on that or if we're going to see if that's a possibility before we finalize the wages on the budget. I don't know if that.
I really think I should check in with Gordon and see where that stands. Sandy, is that the right way to proceed?
I would say so. We haven't heard anything from the selectmen asking to increase them. I believe the intention was to use the ARPA funds for the 15 hours for the for a second year.
But
I
can we
have to
use,
do that.
So if we could just put in the minutes, and I will follow up with Gordon and ask the question, Caesar.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom.
Sure.
So wage and personnel clerical is nothing, and OSHA training would never put anything in for that. Those are things we may see in the future, but not right now.
Okay.
Police is complete, fire is complete. Building inspector. Now I know that he did talk to the selectmen regarding, I don't know, is Ashley still on?
She was going to a 7. She may have.
Yeah. All right. So they are aware that he is not funding the building inspector, the assistant building inspector line, and that he's adding that to his expense. He currently has someone who is working as an assistant, but they're like an outside contractor. So they get paid out of his expense budget. So he did bring it to the selectmen. They were fine with that.
Sounds like it's a wash.
From what
It
I've
just gives
heard.
him more flexibility.
I believe so. At this point, it's a wash. So I would go ahead with both those lines.
So could I ask for a motion to approve lines 62 and 63 in the budget, which takes the assistant building manager inspector wages down to 0, adds that amount to the building inspector's expenses so that he can use it for contract purposes.
So moved.
Second,
second,
roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. That one carries for both of us. Thank you.
Okay, next is the animal control officer. It's highlighted because I wanted to check the wages. I did check the wages. That figure is accurate, and that's the 1%, and it's a step
Okay,
on hers.
okay.
Alright.
So it's all, that $982 is formulaic.
Right.
Okay, could we get a motion to approve line 66, the salary for the animal control officer?
So
Second.
moved.
Yeah, second.
Got it there? Okay, a roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
Okay, I don't know whether you're ready to vote the school budgets at this time, or if you want to wait until next meeting, but
No, I think we should wait until next meeting and really press on line 74 in particular. And
okay.
And do you have any news on line 75, Sandy? Anything new there?
That figure is actually accurate. They went up just a couple of $100. Oh, I can't click it. Linda, can you click the little note, the little red?
Hashtag.
I'm moving my mouse trying to do it. No, on the, yeah, there it is. So it went up just about $600.
Yeah.
They had some savings, but then they had some expenses that counteracted it. And I do not believe they'll be going down. Plimpton, their assessment went down. Kingston's did not go up to the same percentage as ours went up. So I believe that they're pretty happy with their budget.
It's all.
I don't think it's moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
5
Sure.
million.
So why don't we leave this till next week anyway? I owe the committee a final scrub of the school committee budgets, of the school budgets. And let's see if we can make any progress on school transportation. Yes, Cheryl.
Are we taking bids for special needs transportation, or we're just accepting this one for the 300,000?
No, I think the only solution that we're trying to sort out is the COA solution. There is no one willing to bid on this. That's what I've been advised.
Really?
We had multiple vendors for it previously. We're now down to one vendor, and they've solicited others who are not interested in taking it. So the proposal that we floated today, which is why I'd like to give it some time to percolate, is that COA create an arrangement to handle at least some of this with the 3 vans that we have that are underutilized at COA.
And how many children do we have that need the special needs vans? Anybody?
I don't have
Not sure
that.
what the census is, but I know it's gone up pretty significantly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But what has changed really is pricing. So it's not a huge lift in the number of children that we're moving in fiscal 23 over 22.
Right.
Instead, it's having gone to one. It's the same thing we're having with waste management. Everybody's giving their employees large raises. They're anticipating large fuel costs,
Right.
and they see it as an opportunity to be more profitable because they're the only game in town. So that's where I think if we could come up with an internal solution that helps COA fund itself and the school committee keep this under control, that would be great. But we are not. They have not taken it out for bids. They've insisted that there's no one to bid with.
Real.
So we'll wait on the school committee.
All right, here we go. The recycling center wages, that one we held because I had forgotten I wanted to take a look at that, made sure I got the 1% in there for FY22. That number is correct. So you could vote that.
So that's step.
The hazardous waste, and
10%.
yeah, the recycling center wages is correct.
Cheryl, did you have a point?
How many people do we have working in recycling anyway?
So we have That covers 3 people.
Okay,
We have a driver. We have a center like operator, and then we have a part-time helper.
okay. Okay, thanks, Andy.
So could we get a motion to approve line 106 recycling center wages?
So moved.
Second,
And a roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
She did, I talked to Sue Johnston today. She did say to take the hazardous waste collection down by the $12,000.
Good.
So it is lowered to $5,950.
And the action will be that we'll do alternate years or what? I know that they were very low demand for the service, so what was
Right.
their outcome there?
Well, she is looking at doing it alternate years, or any other way of handling it. At one point, she had talked about maybe doing it regionally with Hanson or another town, so that they would share the cost, because we just don't have that many people in town who participate.
Right.
And there is the option for the people in town to use Clean Harbors.
Right.
So that was the decision, was to take that 12,000 out of that budget.
I mean, that's smart thinking. It's not being used, so
Why spend it? True.
So a motion to accept line 108 as written.
So moved.
Second,
A roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. Dr. Carrots.
The trash collection disposal, that is high. They are
Wait
going
on
out
this?
to,
They're going out to bid, right?
they are going out to bid. The prices will not be in until the end of April. It is, she put it on the central register today, I believe today or Friday or something on that idea. From the, we actually host someone from DEP who works out of the recycling center office. And he looked at it, he said, there's no way we're going to not get a lower bid. We should definitely be able to lower this price. But my recommendation would be put this price in on the warrant. And then at town meeting, we can lower the price. My fear is if you put it, if we try to make a guess or something, it's always harder to go up than to come down. So I think where this is a high point, definitely the high point, I would suggest putting this on the warrant and then bringing it down at town meeting.
Afterwards.
And
Makes
this
sense.
is a, right, so this is the upper limit. We know this would be the most that we would pay for this. And
Right.
is this a straight pass through to our residents?
Well, what would happen is we would have to increase the price of the bags.
Yeah,
This is paid for by the bags.
right.
And we would have to increase the price. And that's why we're working so hard not to have it that price.
Right.
Because we do not want to have to increase the bags like that.
Okay, could I ask for a motion to approve line 109 at 332,460 for next year?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. That one's smarts. Okay. What's next?
Looks like COA.
All right, the Council on Aging expense went up $650.
What's in expense? Sandy,
It's hard for me to say. I was trying to remember what she said went up. I think there are some dues that went up, and different things. I know that she's trying to do more programming.
Yeah, and that's where
She
the
said she
printing
needed a
costs have
little-
gone up.
She said in the meeting she was at too, that there would be a little more cost on the postage with the newsletter.
Right,
Right.
okay. I mean, it's a high percentage, but it's a small amount. So could we entertain a motion to approve COA expenses at 117?
So moved.
Second,
Cheryl,
yes.
Michael,
Yes.
John?
Yes.
John, thank you, Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
Okay, Pope's Tavern electricity, she went up $300. I do believe that figure is needed. The year before last, we were really close. So I think that the way that it's been going, I think we're gonna need that.
So a motion to accept line 118 as written at 3,300.
So moved.
Second,
Thank you. John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl? You're on mute again. Is that a yes, Cheryl?
yes.
Thank you. And myself is a yes. That carries. Okay.
Okay, now, if you stop, we're gonna look at Parks expense. And we're going to change it from 450. And he is asking that it go up to 1,562.
So based on the conversation we had with Michael earlier today, this evening rather, could I get a motion to increase line 132 to 1162?
So moved.
1562, right?
Second,
Sorry, Linda, was there a point?
1562, I believe. I just want to make sure.
1562, sorry, thank you. So a roll call vote, Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes, that carries.
Okay, next is the fireworks committee. They're asking for 3,300 to cover the police and the fire details for the fireworks. And this is for FY23 fireworks. We usually end up having it the weekend before the 4th, which falls into the current. So that's going to be like June 2023. She has an article on the special town meeting to finance the same thing, asking for the same 3,300 for this year's
For
fireworks.
this calendar year, okay.
Right, because she
Is
thought
this-
they were going to be in July, but she couldn't get them in July. They're in June, so.
Is this number consistent with prior years with when we were?
It is, it was, the last time they actually got money for this, 3 years ago, it was 3,200, but
Okay.
wages are going up and the details too, so I think 33 is fair.
So can we get a motion to approve line 138?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, and a roll call vote, Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes, that carries. Something for ag.
Okay, the debt, all of these went down. I would say to approve all of 1.5, well, it looks like I didn't give them all numbers, but the landfill capping, the Halifax roof and repairs number, and the Halifax fire suppression debt, all three are what we owe, and they all did go down from last year.
Is that repayment of principal or an interest rate move?
It's principally and interest.
Okay.
So the landfill capping, this is the last year, so our principal is 90,000. And 187 is just the interest we need on 1,857, sorry, is the interest we need for this year. The other two are newer debts. We will be seeing those for quite a while. But the way we fund it, we ask for an even principal, and then the interest goes down. So each year it usually goes down.
Gotcha, okay.
So
So could I ask for a vote to approve lines 149 and 149 A, B, and C?
A and B. C isn't, yeah.
Motion approved?
So moved.
Thanks. Second?
Second,
Thank you. Okay, a roll call vote. Todd,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes,
John,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
Okay, the next one is Plymouth County Retirement. As you can see, it went up 117,000. Again, this is because we are trying to reach fully funded. Plymouth County Retirement is trying to reach fully funded, and I believe it's in the year 2040. I'm not sure, Linda. If you can,
2030.
2030, I'm sorry. So this is going to keep increasing just so they can get that number, hit that number.
So is this actuarially determined that this is what?
Yeah, we have no
input.
we have no choice.
no leeway in this.
Yeah, no real choice. Okay.
No.
Right.
So a motion to approve,
So moved.
second?
Second.
Okay, a roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes,
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
Okay, the next one is the Halifax Group Insurance. Linda, would you like to discuss this?
how
Oh,
come that
sure.
we're not-
Linda, as our assistant treasurer, is in charge of this number.
Is this the new number I gave you the other day, Sandy?
No, it is not. This is the original number, Linda.
Okay, so I did update Sandy last week, probably I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, that we are expecting a significant drop in that insurance figure. She originally thought it would be about 30,000. I think we're looking closer to 100,000 less. We've had a lot of retirees who are going from family plans to Medex plans, which saves them significantly. You're talking a difference between 1,300 a month down to about 400 a month that we're matching. So yeah, as of right now, it still could change a little. We are in an open enrollment period. We do like to account for at least one extra family plan, as we suspect that we'll pick up one, if not more, during the year. But that number will be down, and I do not have in front of me the number that I gave Sandy last.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I forgot to bring home any paperwork. So I would ask that you lower it by the 100,000.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So
if I wasn't sure,
let's be clear, we're looking at a number that's going up $75,000. So I'm trying to reconcile that with what Linda just told us, which is this number going down.
So the reason, go ahead.
It originally accounted for a 7% increase, and this the health group actually only increased by 3%. And then this figure was, I would guess I gave it to you probably early January without all the additional updates of the people who had switched out to Medex plans. And so, yeah, the fact that we lost 4% just by their vote, only increasing it 3%, and the fact that we've been able to update all the plans. Plus, we had a couple of retirements of people who were on insurance, replaced by people who no longer needed insurance. So that helped the situation as well.
So that makes eminent sense, except that I'm looking at a 7% increase on the spreadsheet.
That was enough.
I'm sorry. So what was the question, Tom? That is the 7% increase on there. It hasn't been updated yet by Sandy.
So we should not vote it if the number's uncertain.
What I'd like you to vote is 1,054,560. So drop what you, yeah.
That makes, thank you. That's what I was trying to understand.
That's it. That's what I'd like you to vote.
Oops.
okay. Yeah, we go over that. How come that lost? Did I lose everything? Hello.
That looks better. That looks like what Linda was describing.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So could I, now with the adjustment, could I ask for a motion to recommend line 152 at 1054,560?
So moved.
Second?
Second,
Okay, roll call vote. Cheryl?
yes.
Michael?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
The next line is our OPEB Trust. We had set a policy, the Finance Committee had set a policy to try to increase this by 5,000 every year. We have not yet done that, but what we have done is increased it by 1,000. So I'm asking for the 1,000 again, to bring it to 39,000 this year.
So motion to approve line 155 at $39,000.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
and a roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. Thanks.
Okay, I think that might be it. What I'd like you to do is, Linda, if you can go back up to the treasurer collector clerical line.
It's got to be up at the beginning, right?
Yep, way up the top.
I'm getting there.
Ah, now you're going too far. Wait a minute, there it
There we
is,
go.
line 22.
Yep. I got it.
So that number is currently 141, 854. What I'm asking you to increase that by is 11,000. To bring that to a 40,
That's the 40-hour provision.
right,
So 152, 854.
yes.
And how many treasurer collectors are there?
One.
So we have one treasurer collector, that was Pam, who, no, don't
Okay.
close your mouth, Cheryl. That's the treasurer collector's salary. You see it in above on line 21. That's our treasurer collector. The treasurer collector clerical consists of an assistant treasurer and an assistant collector, and then an administrative assistant. Those three people are included in that line.
Sorry, Cheryl, I thought you were asking about how many treasure collectors we had, which is one.
Yeah,
No.
when she said that, that's.
Yeah, but there's three in this line.
It was the clerical line
Right.
that got me. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
So
So
there's,
this department
So-
has three people.
yeah,
Right.
well,
The other two are full-time, part-time.
So the assistant collector is a full-time position,
Mhm.
and the administrative assistant is, I believe, and Linda, correct me if I'm wrong, 36 hours?
Yep.
Is she
36
36?
for the administrative assistant and 40 for the assistant collector.
Right.
Currently.
Currently, our
assistant treasurer-
our assistant treasurer is, what are you at, Linda, 34?
32.
Or 32. So it is an additional 8 hours for that position and quite necessary. So that's what I'm asking you to recommend at town meeting.
Any questions from the committee? I support it. I think there's too much riding on this.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a necessary expense, especially with the treasurer collector leaving.
Right.
Okay, so a motion to accept line, where did I get lost? Line 22, an $11,000 increase over what we had previously approved, which would put it at 152, 854 for fiscal 23, entirely due to the increase in the AT's authorized hours.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
second,
Thanks. Okay, a roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
Okay. I believe that does the operating budget. So
Okay.
everything except for the school has been voted.
So we are in really good shape that way. Do we have to review articles next week?
We can start tonight if you'd like.
Sandy, hi,
Yes.
it's Jingalon, and this discussion was so entertaining, but did I miss the vote on the library stuff? Because I think I know we last week we ended right before we hit the library.
The
And then,
library, right. I already had that marked as recommended.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
vote library.
I think
We did the
we
library.
stopped just after it.
Yeah.
We had
Okay.
voted the library.
so it was last week that I sorted out. Thank you.
You must have.
Okay, awesome. So the figures are the figures that you gave me. not
They
too
are.
long
They are the
ago.
figures I sent you.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Cheryl, how's your battery looking?
Let me see. Yeah, not bad.
Why don't we take a shot at the articles? See if we can get through those.
All right.
Okay. So the first article is Article 6, which is the reserve fund. That's 75,000 from the general fund, which will be 75,000 raise and appropriate. It's also 50,000 from water retained earnings. So the article will read 125,000, but only 75,000 is from raise and appropriate.
That is the same as last year?
Yes. I did not see a reason to increase it.
No.
So I'm not,
So,
basically, I think we've been doing okay with the amount.
what happens, so of all the reserve fund transfers that we did last year, do we know what the total was?
I
Two seconds.
don't
I
know.
think right now we've only done about 20. We did the one for the 12,000 just a week or so ago, and I think we
Yeah.
did one for 11,000
I think so too.
before that. Yep. So the 23,000 so far. Typically, in the last couple of years, you've kind of been killed with the law line asking for reserve fund transfers. I don't know if that's going to come up again. They did vote $100,000 worth of money out of ARPA to the law line. I don't know.
For legal expenses?
There is a chance that that may come back again this year, but
Where does the unused money go?
it goes back to the general fund. So it ends up being turned into free cash at the end of the year.
Okay, okay. So could we entertain a motion to keep the reserve fund line flat this year at $75,000?
So moved.
Second? Okay, roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
and Todd?
Yes.
Okay, and myself is a yes, that line carries.
Okay, we do not have any figures on any of these 7 through 14 at this point. In fact, I think 14 is coming out. They basically told me they did not believe they would have a town administrator by the end of the year, so we don't have anything for that. Plymouth County Extension Services is the next one for $150. This is something we do every year. They were part of Plymouth County Extension Services that provides the 4-H and different activities like that.
Motion to approve?
No, so moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. Thank you.
Okay, the next article is road maintenance. Last year, we increased it from 150,000 to 300,000. Steve would very much like to keep it at the 300,000 this year, and we can afford to, so I am recommending that.
Recognizing that that's what, about
Capital planning
1/3
recommended.
of a mile of new road.
Mm.
So I motion to approve Steve's request to keep it flat at 300,000.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, roll call. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
The next article is the assessors recertification article for $18,660.
What is that? Say more about
The
it?
assessor's recertification.
Yeah,
I have to do it.
so it's an annual fixed cost. We don't have any choice, right?
Right.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, so motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, and a roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is yes.
Okay.
Line
Article-
18, I think, is a normal rotation, right?
Yes, it is. This year, it's going to be a police cruiser, one cruiser and one chief's vehicle.
So motion to approve the capital plan for rotating the police vehicles, $110,000.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Todd,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
The next article is the bulletproof vest for $5,000.
Any questions or comments from the committee?
No.
Did that go down or was that the original amount?
That's the original amount. We
It
do
was- okay.
sometimes get refunds from the state, so they're just replenishing the account so that we have the money in there.
Oh, okay.
Right, and I believe the chief also mentioned they do have a life cycle, so they're only good for so many
Yes.
years and then they need to replace them.
Right.
So motion to approve,
So moved.
second?
Second,
Okay, and a roll call vote. Todd,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
and myself is a yes. That carries. Scroll up there.
That's all right. The next article is the replacement of the station cell cameras. These are the cameras that actually monitor the cells in the police station. And we have been having issues with them, and this is something that's a requirement by the state.
Yeah.
So we really have to get those fixed. So that is $7,379.
Okay, motion
And
to
that
approve.
isn't,
Oh,
that-
Cheryl?
yeah, that's not part of what Caesar's budget was, correct?
No, it's
No.
not part of that.
No.
Caesar's doing the outside of the buildings.
He's
Right.
not- okay.
That's supposedly, yeah. So motion to approve replacement of the station cell cameras.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
okay, a roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
and myself is a yes.
Okay, this next article is for the Halifax Elementary School elevator. This price, $66,941, is to replace the control panel. The current elevator is so old and the control panel is so old that we can no longer get parts. The parts we have for it right now that we just repaired, they repaired it, I think, last year, were the last they could find anywhere. So we really do have to upgrade that control panel. I don't know whether you want to vote on it tonight or if you want to wait until next week when the school comes in to talk
So,
about it.
yeah, Cheryl?
Cheryl has questions.
I'm sorry, but would opera funds pay for that? Isn't that a capital improvement?
It's all depends. So the ARPA funds, it doesn't fall into any specific category that's allowed by the ARPA funds. So it would come under the lost revenue. And that has to go through the selectmen. They did not ask that to go through the free cash is a legitimate use for this. It's a one-time expense and it should last quite a long time once we put it in. It's not something that it's just like any of the other departments. They could have brought any of these articles for the lost revenue money, but this is something that we would naturally fund through free cash.
Okay.
You have an ADA obligation to do this, right?
Right.
Okay, motion to approve,
So moved.
second,
Second.
Second,
roll call vote, Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
Okay, the next one is the highway dump truck. This is the medium duty dump truck that Steve talked about with you. It's going to be for plowing and sanding. It's not the huge dump trucks that we had before, which he said is, it actually makes it so it can be more useful. It can do some of the smaller streets because it's not as big. 200,000, that's from the state bid list.
Any comments or entertain a motion?
So moved.
Okay, second,
Second,
roll call vote, Todd,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
Michael,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
Okay, the next one, and it just made me think of something else, but the next article is for highway for a 500-gallon double-walled waste oil tank. It's $50,000. The one we have now is single-walled. We are not in compliance with the state standards. So this would bring it up to compliance. And the need for this, so this allows us to burn used oil, and Steve did talk to you about this at the last
He
one.
did.
And just as a side note, we have heating bills that we're being charged currently $5 a gallon for heating oil.
Yep.
So this is, being able to use the waste oil is huge.
Right.
And then I'm going to ask you guys if we can jump back momentarily to, after you vote this, to the operating budget to look at the gas line and the heating oil line. I forgot to bring that up tonight.
So a motion to approve the acquisition of a double-walled waste oil tank,
So moved.
second,
Second,
roll call vote, Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. It carries. Thanks.
Okay. If Linda, could you jump back to expense and go down? Yeah, it's a little further down than this,
Sure.
under the fixed costs.
There it is.
There you go. So the gas line we have at 90,000, we may just make it this year. I'd like to increase that to 110,000. I did talk with Steve. They think they're gonna be all right this year, but with gas prices the way they are, I think that we do need to increase it. It's a $20,000 increase. It's about what we used to have it at when prices were high before. And then the heating oil budget, I'd like to increase that at least by 10,000 to 60,000. As I said, I was talking with Scott, who is the director of building maintenance, and Sue Johnston, who is also his administrative assistant. She was thinking we were fine with the heating oil, that we had money, you know, we're almost out of heating season, we have money left over, and then she got about $9,000 worth of bills in this morning. So I think that we do need to increase that at least by 10,000. So my request is gas and oil at 110,000 and heating oil at 60,000.
Any comments, committee?
What
Do
can
we
you
do
do with the
bids
price
for
of
gas?
the way
And
they
if
are?
we, and the money just goes back into the fund if we don't need that
If
much.
the money isn't used, it goes back into the general fund.
Yeah.
So a motion to approve the increases to lines 157, 158 to 110 and 60,000 respectively.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Do we do bids on gas and oil?
We do. The way they are bid out, there's a certain, there's a rack price. And so it's not like a set price. They give us a rack price and then there's a factor they add into it. So when prices go up, we still see an increase, but our basic, like the base price stays the same. But then we see some type of an inflational increase. So that's why it's a funny way that they do it.
Yeah, sure.
I don't
is.
completely
Yeah.
understand it, but that's the way the bids come through. So
Yeah.
they can increase.
Should be a locked-in price.
Pardon me?
Nobody would give us a fixed price right now.
No,
But
They
they
would
will
not.
give us what's called a collar. So when I was Wall Street, we used to trade oil, and they'll put a collar around it, which is that cap that you're describing, where it'll go up, but it'll go up slower than the rack rate, than the market rate. So I think to the extent we can lock it in, great, but at 110,000 or even at 60,000, we're a small player in this, so we wouldn't get much price power out of this. Any other questions? Okay, motion to approve lines 157 and 158 is written,
So move.
Second,
and a roll call vote. Cheryl,
yes.
Michael,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
okay.
Can I
So
ask while we're still back here? I'm going to agree with Jean Gallant. I have been looking over the notes from last week. Thank goodness I have them in paper as well while I'm not sharing my screen. And so this section right here that I've got up there right now, the library parks historical beautification, you actually never did vote. You voted a general vote to say if they weren't increasing in level funding, you were all set on that, or if they were going down, but it looks like there are a couple within that group that did change. So I don't know if you want to separately vote those.
So you want to revote the library?
Well, so it's not a revote because they didn't ever vote it other than to
All right, I was under the impression they did, but that, because they had a mark that they did, but
yeah.
So how did
So
we
the-
mark, which ones did we mark that we haven't voted on?
So let me see if I think so. You did take general votes on the wage lines. The expense went down. So youth and rec wages, I think you would have been all set on. I'm just double checking what's going on here. So that's wages again. Parks expense you just did
we
tonight.
just voted tonight.
No, you know what? You are actually fine because none of them went up. I was looking at the wage lines and those are the ones that increased, but that was fine because you voted it based on the fact that it was steps.
Okay.
All right, sorry about that.
That's all right. If we go back to articles. Okay. So the next is the water recycling unit for the wash bay at the highway department.
Which we're out of compliance on, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yes. The recycler doesn't work. We're pumping the water out of the tight tank, which is not in compliance. And he's adding a roof over the wash bay so that the rainwater doesn't end up in the tank, which makes huge sense. So
based on Steve's discussion of this last week with us, motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Second,
Okay. Roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
So the next two, South Coastal Counties Legal Services and South Shore Resource Advocacies. These are two that we do every year. We contract with them $3,500 and they provide services to people in our community who need these services.
Are these flat with last year?
Yes.
So motion to approve line 26 and line 25 and 26 at $3,500 each.
So move.
Second,
Roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. Those carry.
The next is a new time stamp clock for the town clerk's office. Everything, almost everything that comes into the town clerk's office has to be time and date stamped. Her time and date stamper is not working. Again, it's an old piece of equipment. They're having trouble finding parts, and she really can't afford to have it down and not working. So she is looking to replace it for $850.
Motion to approve line 27.
Second,
So moved.
And a roll call vote. Cheryl,
yes.
Michael,
Yes. Yes.
John,
Yes.
and Todd,
Yes.
and myself is yes.
Okay. The next article is $1,000 for computers at the library. The library has been on a schedule of rotation. They've been rotating through computers. I think this is only one computer, but I'm not positive. Jean, if Jean's still on the line, she can refresh my memory, but it's $1,000.
Yep, so that's only for,
Say that again, Jean.
Are you breaking up, Jean? I'm having,
sorry, so that's one computer?
Okay, thank you.
right.
You hear that?
Yes,
Yep,
thanks.
thank you.
So
And,
motion to approve one new computer for the library.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Thank you. Second.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
Okay, the next article is for 3 copy machines. We need to change that to 2 copy machines. Water does not want to replace a copy machine at this time.
Okay.
And it would be $4,000. And this is the conversation we had
Yeah.
last week. I still feel that the best way to go is to purchase them, not to lease them. There is definitely, Caesar did check, there is a warranty. It's exactly the same for leased as it is for purchase. And even though it's not that much money, that more money that would be paying under the lease, it is a little bit more, and then it would be, we'd have to replace it after 3 years, where a lot of these better copy machines, they last more than 3 years, of course, depending on use, but.
And there's a small salvage value perhaps at the end.
Right.
Okay, so motion to approve the purchase of 2 copy machines. Want to take, oh, sorry, Sandy, take water out of the header on that line?
Yeah, so it's for highway and library.
Yeah. So motion to approve,
Thank you, Linda.
So moved.
second?
Second,
Okay, a roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
Okay, and my apologies for not updating this, but the police and fire IT network refresh, that is not needed. That article is coming out because it was actually voted out of ARPA funds back in January. And I should have been more on top of that, but totally missed it. So that one's coming out. The next article is the fire new ambulance, $340,000.
Sort of self-funding. Any comments on it, guys?
Well, it's not, he said it was a couple of years out before we get it, but it's the lock-in of price.
Yeah,
Right.
yes, we
Because
won't.
they're, obviously everything's getting harder to get. They're gonna go, it's gonna go up in price.
Right.
So better
So
to
we
lock
have
in now.
We have to pay for the whole thing now and don't get it for 2 years?
No,
Well, we will not pay for it all now, Cheryl, but we have to commit to it. So we have to commit the money to the article. The money will not all go out, but it all has to be committed.
So it'll sit in our capital account and earn 1%
Interest.
something, and then,
Yeah.
when because they're all custom built, when it's built, we pay it's probably progress payments, Sandy?
Yeah, we pay a deposit to start it. And then if I remember from the last one, we might have a payment halfway through and then at the end, one delivered.
So motion to approve,
So moved.
second?
Second,
Okay, roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
yes,
and myself is a yes. Thank you.
Okay. The next is, I'm actually going to ask you to hold on this because I think we need to have a discussion. This is for security cameras. And if I'm not mistaken, that is not the, Caesar had sent us new information on this, I think last week or the week before. Caesar, are you listening?
Yep.
Yep. So do you want to just give them an idea of the pricing change on this and for the different amounts? I'm sorry, I don't have my paperwork home with me.
Yeah, 1 second.
So I probably wonder if I can. No, I'm not in there.
Okay. Oh, no, not that one. Where are you? Right here. On the sheet that I went over last week, there, it would be lines. I can show you guys my screen actually if you want, so you guys can see it. Linda, I am just going to take over. Linda, do you mind turning off the screen share? Sorry.
I thought we were just looking for a bottom line though, if we could just, okay. So for swapping out.
I was gonna say.
I'm giving it to you. I just want to show you guys the amounts and everything. So it's line 39. This is what the article's for currently. I'm requesting that we only do that and these two are the alternative options, which pretty much means decreasing the implementation. And I'm recommending we go with line 41, 16 cameras. And that only includes anything that's new. And it keeps our existing equipment where it is, and we can look at replacing it at a later time, which comes out to a total of $36,800.
15 new cameras, and then we leave the other, and then the rest, the remaining cameras are existing or are implemented already.
Correct.
So there are already cameras at the fire department, at the recycling center, and at the police department. So he's saying that the 16 cameras would just go on the buildings that don't have cameras.
Town hall, COA, and school.
That includes the town hall, Pope's Tavern, highway department, and Holmes Public Library and highway department.
I think that sounds for me. Any questions, folks?
No.
Okay, can we go back to the articles, Linda?
Yep.
So folks, how do you want to vote this? Do you want to vote for net new cameras at $36,000 or a complete refit at $77,000? Question? What do you guys think?
I think just for the new cameras, I would say.
Yeah, that's what I thought he said.
That's my sense. I mean, and even at that, I mean, I think we should have surveillance on them, but on those buildings, but even at that, we have very low vandalism rate. So, but for the sake of safety, how do we vote this recommendation, Sandy or Linda, if we're voting for a lesser amount?
I can just, want me to just change it on here, Sandy?
Pardon me?
I'm sorry, I was just asking if you wanted me to just change it in here and they vote it at the amount there.
Yeah, I would change it because that's what it looks like, what we would like to go with. And then what we will do is let the selectmen know. It is, I believe, their article because it's coming from IT. And we will move it at the 36.8 for cameras for the buildings that don't currently have them. So we might even, I'll talk with the selectmen and probably just word it that way for the warrant. So it will be security cameras for the town buildings that do not currently have security cameras.
So could I ask for a motion to recommend security cameras to all the buildings that do not have cameras currently for $36,800?
So moved.
Second. Roll call vote. Cheryl?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
And myself is a yes.
Okay, the next article is the school resource officer. Again, this is as a raise and appropriate. So if you vote to recommend it, it will be a raise and appropriate rather than from free cash, because it is an operating
Okay.
item. And if you are in favor of it, if you do recommend it, then next year we could add it to the operating Article 4.
This is progress. Those of you who were first year to the committee last year, a big back and forth over why this was a capital account coming out of the capital budget as though it were a multi-year commitment, but it was the expeditious way to get it funded. Now it looks like we're at least, it's still capital, but we're moving it to raise and appropriate. So that next year we can put it in the school budget where it really belongs as a recurring operating expense.
Right.
So
And it wouldn't actually be in the school budget, but it would be listed as a subline under the school budget.
Okay. As an operating expense, though, not a capital, right? Yeah.
Right. And one of the reasons why we kept it separate is the last 2 years, it was not recommended by finance. 2 years ago, it did not pass through the town of Halifax. Last year, the town of Halifax did pass it. So this is the third year up, and I don't know whether you guys want to recommend it or not.
I don't.
Any questions? Let's take a vote, let's see where we stand on it. You guys are always, vote your conscience on this one. So can I ask for a motion to approve the middle school resource officer for Kingston? This would be our portion of that.
Tom, I have a question.
Yeah, Michael.
I'm sort of curious, are we providing one for the whole year for the middle school, or is this a partial year at the middle school?
This is our nut.
This is a partial, yeah. This is
So we
2/3 of the cost for a part-time SRO at the middle school.
And we share this with the other, we share the expense with the
Okay.
other members of Silver Lake.
Okay.
We
cool.
share the expense with Plimpton, who pays 1/3. Kingston provides the SRO for the high school.
Right. Without
Oh,
our
okay.
kicking in.
Right.
Gotcha.
So basically, this is our share of resource SROs for the entire Silver Lake school system. Any other questions? Okay, motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote. Michael.
Yes.
Todd.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Cheryl.
Yes.
And myself is a yes.
Okay, the next article is the Council on Aging. So there was a committee that has been looking at all of the town buildings and the needs of the different town buildings there are obvious needs for a new place for our Council on Aging. Pope's Tavern is not an adequate building for the Council on Aging, not just in the space that it has, but also because the upstairs is basically unusable by seniors. There's no safe access to it for seniors. We are looking at the Halifax Museum building, which was it was the library. And we have had an architect who has looked at it and has proposed plans to do a small addition or do an addition to it to rehab it. It would be all one floor for the seniors. It would give more space, and it's a newer building, so it would be a better option. I believe there's more parking over there as well. If we go along with it, the architect came in with a price, very rough estimate of 1.2. We are looking for 1.5 because it never is as low as the architect says. And there's always other things that need to be taken into consideration. The money would actually come from the school roof bond. The school roof bond has approximately 1.5 million extra in that bond. When we voted the school roof project, it was school roof and windows and siding. It was voted for $7 million. The project came in for less between the two contractors. It was a pre-pandemic project. Interest rates were very low, but we were looking at them going up. We knew it was going to be less than the $7 million. We still had part of the project to complete, and we were looking at getting money back from the state for the Massachusetts School Building account. And so we took a shot. We said, okay, we're going to bond it for $4 million, thinking that's quite a bit less than what we had approved. Thinking we'd probably have to do another bond later. The prices came in low. The interest rate never did go back up, but we thought it was going to. Then the pandemic happened, everything stayed low for the interest rates. And the state, we didn't have an exact figure of what the state was giving us back, so we have received a couple of payments from the state since we bonded. So we have $1.5 million that is left over in that account. We would like to transfer that to the Council on Aging project. The one catch is the school roof project was debt excluded. So we have to have an article on town meeting to transfer the money from the school roof project to the Council on Aging project. We also have to have a question on the ballot to approve the Council on Aging project as a debt exclusion, so that it's not within the levy. It's above the levy as all our debt exclusion. This one is already debt excluded. This money is already debt excluded. This money is already being paid back. If we do this and we use that money, there is no increase in taxes at all. This is like a wash. So we're already and there is, the state asks that when you have money left over like this, that you use it on another project and of equal length. So, you know, something that can be bonded for the same length as the original project. So we are.
Was it in this meeting or another? There was a very good presentation on this. Was that in this meeting or another? I can't remember where I heard the presentation on this. But Sandy's just basically given us the summary on how this would work. Do we have any questions from the committee? Okay, we basically have this money sitting in the bank earning 1%, and we're paying and we're paying 3 or 4 on it. So the value is wasting unless we go and put it to good use somewhere else. think it
And
really.
we cannot use it to pay down the bond either.
Right, because the bondholders said, we promised the bondholders that return for the duration of the coupon. Hearing no other questions, I ask for a motion to approve line 34.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Cheryl,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
This is something that we are going to work on, sort of getting out there, publicizing before the town meeting so that people understand it.
Yeah.
The next article is the Silver Lake Tennis Courts repair. They're looking for 110,000. I'm proposing to take that from the stabilization account, that part of our stabilization account, we had gotten money returned from Silver Lake. We put it aside. It was about 312,000. So they're asking to use 110,000 of that money to repair those tennis courts.
Sandy, this was on the docket last year, and it was all that
Yes.
awful about. What happened? Did they not repair the tennis courts?
No?
It didn't get approved.
It didn't get approved. Okay.
No.
No.
Um,
Being from the stabilization, it does have to have a 2/3 vote. So that could have been part of it.
2/3 town vote,
Right.
or 2 out of
Yes.
3. Okay.
No, a 2/3 vote.
So, any questions? Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. And it is coming out of stabilization fund, right?
Yep.
Which has been set aside for school for purposes like these. Okay, a roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Cheryl.
No.
Okay, and myself is a yes. So motion carries, but let's note the next vote.
Okay, the next three articles were not recommended by capital planning. But our free cash figures were a little tighter back then, but I will present them to best I can. So Halifax Elementary School was looking for a new intercom system to improve with the communications with the classrooms, and I think this would be best presented at the next meeting when the school is coming in, because I really don't have all the details on it. But it is the intercom system that they were talking about, if I'm not mistaken, was also being able to, it would be equivalent to the ones that were in the newer schools. They were trying to have them all the same, and I think they could talk to each other in the different schools. So I'm not sure exactly.
They're all Wi-Fi. They're Wi-Fi
Right.
wired.
So this is a $38,800 for that article. I don't know whether you want to wait until next week and talk with the school about it.
Maybe,
Yeah,
what do you want to do?
I think we should talk to the school about it.
Yeah. I agree with Cheryl. Wait and talk to the school.
Okay,
My phone is running out of gas.
okay, let's go quickly through 39 and 40 then, and then we're done.
All right. 39 is the police body worn camera program. They're asking for $46,380.
It was
We
not
have been
recommended
trying
by
to get
us.
grants. Pardon
I'm
me?
sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Sandy.
No, they've been trying to get grants for this. It's not a requirement yet. The police chief put it forward because he'd like to see our officers get them and get used to them. And he is still trying for grants, but if we buy them and then we get approved for a grant later, we don't get the money back. So
Can I speak
it
on
was
that?
not one of
Yeah,
the
would you, Chief?
priorities. Sure.
Yeah, so, what happened was, we put in for the grants, we didn't get the grants. this program is a 5-year program. So that amount, which went down, I believe, by quite a bit. I gave Sandy the new quote, which is the 46 you see there. It's like I said, it's a 5-year program. I was going to pull the article out, but then when there was discussion and Sandy mentioned the thing about having more free cash than she thought, I felt that it was a good, prudent thing to do, to put in for it now. Again, it's going to be 5 years out. I could continue to apply for grants and not get any grants, and then get to a situation where I am mandated to get the cameras, and then the bids come in at 100, 200,000. I have a bid for one of the companies for 100,000. So I think this is a prudent thing to do right now for a 5-year program. That hopefully the town will be in much better financial situation when it's time to renew these cameras. This program does come with a refresh at year 3. They'll change out all our hardware, and the cameras themselves are not they're cheap. It's the issue with maintaining the recordings and all that. So that's 5 years. We don't have to worry about anything. $46,000, I think. I know that Sandy had wrote me back on March 9th saying that capital wasn't recommending it, but it could change. So that's why, so basically it's my spiel to have the committee reassess and hopefully recommend this article at the town meeting.
So motion to recommend?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Michael?
Yeah.
Cheryl?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. Motion carries. Thanks, Chief.
The next is Library and Water Department Network Refresh for $12,500. And again, this was part of a larger article with the police for the police and fire for the $2,500. That one's been taken off. This one is half the price, $12,500. I don't know how we didn't recommend it at the time, but at the time it was a larger article. So
And APA can't take that one and took the other one, the police fire IT network refresh. You can't do the library
the
too.
ARPA was the selectmen's decision to use ARPA money for it. And I think it was because they wanted to make sure that the police and fire were taken care of. Their IT situation was taken care of.
We have the money.
We do have the money. Linda, would you scroll down a little for me? I keep reaching for the mouse to try to scroll down. So currently, we have about 109,000. If everything was funded, it looks like we'd have about 109,000 left over from the free cash. So we do have the money to do it. I'm leaving it up to you.
Yeah, I mean, what's the cons of not doing it, right? Because I think when talked to Caesar was a much lower priority item than the
Right.
fire officer.
It was a low priority.
Yeah.
It's Caesar. I just want to be clear. The water department are just minor upgrades, but the library refresh and the police and fire refresh, while they are separate buildings, both of them are important. But when you're talking about the two of them together, the police and fire is more important. I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Caesar, have you got the bandwidth to do all 4 refreshes?
Bandwidth as in like network speeds?
No. I'm talking human capital, not technical.
Oh.
I mean, these take surveillance. They have to be done properly. So
yeah, the library refresh is very simple.
Okay.
It's just the equipment that's expensive. We're just pretty much adding.
You're just
to our
basically
current
swapping out equipment. Okay. Questions on this article?
I guess my only question or thought is, where it wasn't recommended previous, I realized that the police cameras weren't either, but seems like there was a little bit more information on that. I just don't know if that's something that we should honor now, is my dilemma.
Well, I think we just didn't recommend them from the capital just due to the, the overlap basically. Yeah, we had basically used up the free cash and then some of the, figures came in lower. So that's where we had some more discussion on the body cameras to maybe slide that in, but we hadn't talked about sliding in the 12.5 for the refresher.
Right, and part of it was we thought we were funding the fire and police, and now that we don't have to fund that out of the free cash, we do have the free cash available to fund this.
Yeah.
Is it necessary? I mean, it's always good to upgrade these things, but I'd hate to upgrade it and then find that 5G is gonna obsolesce whatever we put in.
5G will have
lost audio.
5G will not have any effect on that. And the equipment that we have in the library right now is owned and operated and managed by the library network. And that is partially because the library was handling IT on their own.
Understood. That's not a financial question though. I get that.
So the addition, it is necessary in order for them to adequately and easily managed within the network. Right now, I'm plugging them together as best I can with whatever resources I have, and it's not efficient.
Because it's not compatible. Okay. Motion to approve line 40.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote. Cheryl,
Yes.
Michael,
yes.
Todd,
Yes.
John. John,
Lost.
did we lose him?
Yeah, looks like it.
Appears so.
And myself is a yes. I think we still have quorum though, so we can carry that one
Yeah.
on that basis. And then I think, we are done with the articles, right?
We have to vote on, you do have to vote on the other articles. The Silver Lake is going to talk to you next week about the stabilization, which I have right now at number 46. That is something that we should discuss next week. And then we have the special town meeting articles.
Okay.
But even these other articles, like the dog and other animal bylaws, the stormwater amendments, the holidays in Halifax membership, and the zoning, we don't have any zoning bylaws, so that one, we might have a 5G article. Those will need a finance committee recommendation. They're not money articles, so you could always do a recommendation at town meeting. Or what we can do is try to make sure we have someone to speak on them at the next meeting, so you can make recommendations at the next meeting if you want.
So recognizing we may lose Cheryl and we've already lost John, why don't we vote these next week? And I'll ask for a motion, unless there's any other business that we should attend to.
No correspondence.
I'm back, but I'm fine with waiting until next
Okay,
week as
John.
well. I lost audio, but I logged out and logged back in.
I think we're about spent for the night. Cheryl wants to keep going on the others. Is there any other business other than these final votes that we should entertain?
There was no correspondence, so I have nothing new on that.
Then a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, a roll call vote. John,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
and myself as a yes.